Introduction to Adobe Education Exchange. So I'm going to go ahead and find Google and do a search for Adobe Education Exchange. So this brings us to this first page, our portal. And so if I do not have an Adobe login, I go ahead and click on Join Now or here Join Now. So I'm going to click Join Now. This is where you would put in your first name and your last name, your email address, password, information where you live, and also they need you to have a birth date. And then you click sign up. I'm going to back out of this login page or create page, and I'm going to log into my own area. Put in my password and click sign in. So the Adobe Education Exchange provides professional development with self-paced workshops. So over here under my Exchange tab, I go over and look at workshops that I could learn about specific applications and take training that is on demand 24/7 on the Adobe Education Exchange website. They're designed to provide both product training and also curriculum integration for educators who wish to use Adobe tools in the classroom. Another area that I could go into is collaborative courses. Collaborative courses range from 25 to 75 hours of instruction, and they're a blend between on-demand and also self-paced learning with collaborative experiences to boost creativity. There's also live events in here and also the Adobe Education Training Program to help to build learning on campus through our free or free Train the Trainer programs. This is an online professional learning community that helps put qualified Adobe trainers in communities across the globe, increasing access to face-to-face and on-site training. So the Adobe Education Exchange gives you all kinds of resources that you could search by subject matter, digital media, arts, business, education. You could also have certain grade levels that you could find resources. If I scroll down a little bit, I could also find desktop and also mobile applications. So I could find information on Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, Premiere Pro, Acrobat, After Effects, Dreamweaver, Lightroom, Adobe Voice, and Adobe Slate. Here I could also get some information about the resources that are here. I could also create syllabi. So this is the resource tab that I'm looking at right now. Also has a great community that I could talk to my peers and also my mentors and discuss certain things about my training programs for professional development. There's a tab here for discussions that I could discuss certain best practices for certificates, digital citizenship and responsibility, technology trends, best practices. For my professional development area, they have collaborative courses that I could enroll in and also self-paced workshops like assessing creativity in today's classroom. Okay, we're going to do a search for high quality images that are Creative Commons and can be modified. I'm going to use Chrome and Google. I'm going to click Chrome, open that up. Google pops up. There's a search engine in here. I'm going to go ahead and type in creativity. Creativity pops up under images. I'm going to click on that. Once the images pop up under search tools, I click on search tools and I want you to go to usage rights. There, go ahead and click on labeled for reuse for modification. There, images come up that I could use through the Creative Commons license. I'm going to click on the first one, creativity, and view image. The image pops up. I could right click and I could save that image as to a specific location. Another location that you can find some Creative Commons images that are quality of high resolution and have the tag of Creative Commons, so you can modify them for your lesson plans. I'm going to go ahead and open up Google. Under Google, I'm going to type in compfight.com and find free photos. On the left hand side there's a search engine. I'm going to put in Fibonacci spiral. On the left hand side are different areas that you could click for Creative Commons or commercial use. Here I have some images and I'm going to click on one. This image, they give you different sizes: small, low resolution, medium, large, or original. Here's some information about the credits that you could copy and paste into your lesson plan. I'm going to click on download to download these, and that went to my download folder. Now we're going to do a search using Adobe Stock, and under Adobe Stock you could do searches for photos, videos, illustration, and vector images. I'm going to search for galaxy, spiral galaxies, and hit go. Find one. Here's one I'm going to pick. Here's the dimensions. Save preview to class resources. Gives you some information about the licenses. Start by opening up Word, and I'm going to do a search for a template for project-based learning. So I have my area right here. I'm going to click into the search area and put in project-based. Here's the template that I want to use, so I'm going to click on that, double click to open that up. It opens up, so I'm going to go to File and then Save As. And I'm going to save this document right away as a PDF document and give it a name, call it Lesson Plan. Okay, now I'm going to do some work with Adobe Photoshop CS 5.1. I'm going to open up 3 images and combine them into one. In Photoshop, I go to Open and find my images. So I have 3 images that I selected with the Command key to select those images. 1, 2, 3. 3 from my searches. I have 3 tabs in here. So here I'm looking at the Fibonacci spiral. I'm looking at some cactus and also a sunflower. So in Photoshop, there's different ways that you can look at your images. So up here on the top bar, I'm going to rearrange my images so I could see 3 up on the screen. This allows me to see 3 of my images, and I'm going to click on one. I'm going to go to a certain tool, my selection tool, selection move tool, click on the first one, my sunflower, and just drag that over to the other workspace. So now I could kind of close that up, hit the X to exit. Now I'm going to select my cactus with my selection tool, click on that, and drag that over to my other workspace. So I just combined 3 images into one. I could close that up. So what we're going to do here is that we're going to use some free transformation tools, and they could be found underneath the edit area, and we're going to change the size of some of these tools and some of these images and kind of make them work with our Fibonacci series. So what I'm looking at here is that I have now 3 layers, and so I have to bring up my layer palette so I could actually start to look at the layers that I'm working with. So I have my layers palette here, and I have 3 different layers. The eyeball kind of shows you those layers. So layer, this is my first layer. Here's my second layer. Here's my third layer. When you click on the active layer, that means that you could start to work on that layer. So right now I have layer 1 selected, which is the sunflower. So we're going to use the free transformation tool to kind of enlarge that. So I could find that under edit and free transform. So this gives me a bounding box, so I could click on the corner and resize this. I'm going to hold down the shift key to keep it in proportion. Hold down the shift key, click and drag to make that a little bit larger. Okay, so that's layer 1. Now I'm going to take a peek at my background layer. Oh, before I do that, I have to, each action, it needs to either say, no, I don't like that, or yes, I'm going to click on this checkbox, or even the enter key, return key, to accept what you just did. So now I'm going to go to layer, my bottom layer, and show that layer. And now I could have my sunflower layer disappear. I'm going to turn off the eye to turn that off. So I'm going to leave that there. Now I'm going to look at my layer number 2, which is the cactus, and put on the eyeball to show you that you could see that layer. It's the active layer, so now I can work with that. So I'm going to move that over to the side over here. So you could rearrange your layers by think of the layers of looking from the top down on top of the image, and you're looking down. So this is the layer that's on top, and then I have the sunflower layer, and then my bottom layer is the Fibonacci spiral. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is work with some of the filters and the opacity that works with these layers. So whatever is clicked on, that's the active layer. So here I'm going to go into multiply, click on multiply. There's multiply right there. And so now my bottom layer kind of comes through the second layer. And then I could also change the opacity of that image. So I could lighten it down or have it 100% opaque. The layer 2 I'm going to click on also and click on multiply. So now I could see through the cactus layer, and it also multiplies with the sunflower layer, and you could see the bottom layer also. On this layer number 2, I'm going to change the opacity and take that down a little bit so we could still see a little bit of the Fibonacci image. Okay, so if you want to adjust the layers, you could click on them and adjust them so they'll start to work the way you want it to work. I could use the Command key, and the T key is a shortcut for free transform. So here I'm going to make it a little bit larger, and I'm going to hold down the Shift key to kind of make that larger, so some of the sunflower will start to line up with the Fibonacci line. That's good enough. And so now I'm going to click on the cactus layer. Oh, I need to click on the checkbox to accept what I did. Now I'm going to click on the cactus layer, and I'm going to drag that so it has somewhat lines up with the Fibonacci line. Okay. Then now I'm going to go to File and Save As. Give it a destination that I want to save it to. I'm going to save it to my desktop and call it Combine Photoshop and save that. Save that. Then I'm going to go to File and Save for the Web, and that will compress my PSD file into a flat file, so I cannot change or modify the layers on my flat file. I'm going to pick a JPEG, a quality of 20, and to save that onto my desktop. And there you have it. And open an existing file, which is on my desktop. Looking for lesson plan. Double click that, that opens up. So right away, I need to go ahead and show my tools. So I'm looking at Adobe Acrobat Pro. Here's my toolbar up here. I'm going to click on Tools. So this allows me to open up content to edit text and images. I can add text, add images. Down below, later on, we're going to add a hyperlink. We could also add additional pages. If I wanted to, I could open up objects, add objects as in buttons and videos to add to inactivity for my page. Later on, we're going to get to forms and click on Create to create a new form. So right now, I want to go ahead and open up the content editing area and click on Edit Text and Images. Modify your text, put your own information in there, and so on. On this side, in the upper left-hand side, I'm going to click on the thumbnail, page thumbnails to open that up, and I'm going to click on page 2 and delete that. First, I will select it, and then I will hit this delete key to get rid of page 2. So after we go ahead and edit some of our text in here, we could also modify and insert some graphic. So I'm going to click on the text box, and this gives me a bounded box, and I can click on this to kind of make that a little bit smaller. And I'm going to drop a picture in here. So now I'm going to go to another tool, Add Image, click on that. I'm going to navigate to the image that I just worked on with the combination of Photoshop. I'll click on that and open. Then I could click and I kind of put my picture in there. And so I have my bounding block area. I could hold down the Shift key and drag that to make that smaller. The Shift key keeps it in proportion. So Adobe Acrobat is really nice. It gives you some guidelines. That way you could start to line up some of your information. Okay, so now we just inserted a picture. The next thing we would like to do is and we also modified some of our text. And here's our text. We could put in here our lesson, what we're going to be doing to combine 3 images into one in Photoshop, and then save that as a JPEG. So save text images. So I want you to make sure that you open up content editing and click on edit text. So in here, I'm going to type in intro to the Creative Cloud. So I can modify these text boxes. Here I'm going to say Google search. And then this link. So I'm at Tools, open that up under Content Editing, Looking at that, and then under more content, there's add a link. Click on that. So I'm going to click and drag where I want my hyperlink, and then it's going to open a web page. Click next. This is where I put in the address. So I go ahead and get to my web page that I want, and then there's share. Under share, I could go ahead and copy this information, Command C to copy, move that over to the side, click inside this link area, and paste it, Command V like Victor, click OK. So that's it. And this way we could collect data from our students to see how they feel about the instruction, and they could save this PDF and then email it to you as the instructor. So what I'm going to do here, we're looking at our tools up here. I'm going to click on Tools to open that up. And we've looked at content editing already today. And now we're going to open up Forms. We're going to click on Create. By clicking on Create, it will open up Form Central. So we would like to create a form from scratch or template. And I'm going to launch that. And that opens up Adobe Forms Central window. And we're going to go to New Form. And over here under New Form, we're going to go ahead and do a search for feedback. And do a search. Here it gives us a couple of areas that we could, a couple of forms that we could pick. We're going to use this template, training feedback. It's loading up the form. I can make it a little bit bigger. And so here you can modify the forms by putting in your own graphics. You can modify the names of the trainings. So this training is called Bringing Creativity into the Classroom. So I'm going to put that in there. And so now I'm going to include a picture. So I'm going to double click on those logos there. I'm going to browse for a file. I'm going to find a file on my desktop. And in here I support creativity. Click on that. That puts it in there. Great. File and export PDF form. Give it a name. So this is going to my desktop. Form Central has been discontinued, retired from July 28th, 2015. So you'll no longer are able to save any of your data to the cloud. So right now I'm going to go ahead and save my training feedback to my desktop. Give it a name. Hit save. So I saved it, training feedback 5216 PDF. Now I could go back to my PDF document and I could open up my thumbnail pages. I'm going to close up my form area. Under pages, I'm going to open that up, and here I can insert from file. Go ahead and navigate to that file. So training feedback 5216 PDF and select training feedback 5216 PDF after page 1 of 1, click OK. So now if I look at my document, here's my PDF. I could edit my text. I could drop in graphics. I could insert hyperlinks. And I included a feedback form that I could put my information about the training or have my students put information about the training and what they like about the training, if I reached the mark on my training, and so on. So now I'm going to go and save this. So now my lesson plan has 3 pages, 1, 2, and 3. Page 1 is basically my lesson plan. Thank you. That's it.